Ivy. I'm here to teach how to prepare your examination for the modality. So we already talked about how to prepare your material. Now we are going to demonstrate how do you do each step. So the first step is to set up your sharp container and waste container as well as clean field. So before you set up your clean field, you want to verbalize. I will find a big and clean field, and I'll wash it with soap and water, and I will let it air dry. And now I'm going to set up my sharp container and medical waste. So for the sharp container and medical waste, they need to be traveled in a separate container with your sharp container, with your clean needle supplies. So now I'm going to take out my sharp container. So when you travel, this needs to be closed. And now when you take it out, you want to open it immediately. And now after do this, you will do your waste container. The waste container can be just a zip bag, or you can also bring another container which can help to support the stand of this waste container. So for me, I just use this waste container. So you want to keep it wide open. It's easy to drop your medical waste into it. So after you finish, set up your sharp container and a waste container. So you never want to do this. So you always want to do this. Okay, so don't insert your fingers into the waste container or insert it into a sharp container. So now, after you set up this thing, you will say, I will wash my hands, and then you will set up your clean field. So I will wash my hands and take out my tissue for the clean field. So for this one, you only touch the corner of this paper towel. You don't want to touch the center, you only touch the corner. Open it. So you don't want to do this, don't touch the center, so only touch the corner of it. After this, you wash your hands one more time. And then you take out your cotton ball. So it says you bring 10, but you only need 3 of them. But for me, I like to drop like 5 of them. So this process, you want to just drop it. Don't have your bag touch the clean field. You just drop it, okay? And then you will set up your needles. So when you set up the needles, you need to verbalize. I will look at my candidate worksheets, and then you will decide how many twin needle you will use. So here I got a point, gallbladder 20, which I use 1 twin needle. Bladder 24 and bladder 25, I use 1.5 twin needle. So that means I need 1 twin needle out and 1.5 twin needle out. But in order to make the needle, we'll be able to stand easier on the clean field. Normally, I prefer just open 1 package of it. And set it stand. So after this, you will need to take out your 3 echo swabs. So for the echo swabs, you need to peel off the edge. So first, I will suggest to touch the corner of the echo swabs. You will feel inside which part of the swabs is. Find the white gap between the package and the gap swabs. So I will decide I'll use these 2 sides. So during this process, if your echo swabs is touched by your finger or it's already touched the clean field, you don't use it, you will discard it. You will throw it away. So your swabs needs to be stand properly on the clean field. If one of the swabs like this way, you will throw it away into garbage, and then you will start with one more echo swabs. Okay, so in order to prepare if there are any bleeding or needle dropping, I will also suggest you take out your glove. So same, don't touch the package on the clean field. So that's all for the clean field setup. So now after you set up your clean field, you will do your tonify on gallbladder 20. So before you do the tonify on gallbladder 20, you will check with the patient if there are any precaution, contraindication for acupuncture, as well as for gallbladder 20, this point itself. So before you touch your patient, you wash your hands, okay? So now I will, so I'll move this so you can see. So now I'll wash my hands and I'll palpate the gallbladder 20. So when you say I'll palpate, you do have to touch your patient. I'll palpate gallbladder 20. After you touch your patient, you have to wash your hands. So now after I touch, I wash my hands, and then I will use the echo swabs to swab gallbladder 20. Okay, so drop it, don't insert your finger into the waste. Now I will wait this point dry, and then I will take a 1-2 needle, okay, and then you will verbalize how deep and what's the direction this point should be. So I will insert half chun to 1 chun to the tip of the nose and get the qi. So after you get qi, then you can verbalize how do you do your more tonified technique. So I will say I will do forcefully forward with my thumb and gently backward with my thumb to do my tonified technique. So of course, you also have other option. So like say along the meridian, or you do breathing technique, or you do lifting, thrusting. But personally, I like those rotation better because for lifting, thrusting, it's very hard to manage the depth of the needle. You don't want to do it over deep. Okay, so after you demonstrate your tonified technique, then wash your hands because you just touch your patient. Then you use a cotton ball, support the skin, withdraw the needle, close the hole. Okay, so that is for tonified technique on gallbladder 20. So now we are going to demonstrate Moxan on bladder 24. So the same, before you do this manipulation, you will verbalize. I will check if this patient has any precaution, contraindication for acupuncture and moxibustion, as well as any precaution, contraindication for bladder 24. So I will wash my hands, palpate bladder 24, and then I will wash my hands again. So you will swab and let it air dry. You choose 1.5 chun needle. You insert 1 to 1.5 chun. Getting the qi. And then you wash your hands because you just touch your patient. Now you will take out your moxibustion supplies. So before you put moxa on, make sure you put the shields on first. So don't touch the needle with the shields, carefully, don't touch. Make sure it's close enough so you will not burn your patient, but it's not touch. So I'm going to wash my hands and use the ashtray. You need to verbalize. The ashtray already filled with water, and your forceps, and then you can put this moxa cone on the top of the needle. So there are two options. So one way you can use your finger to hold the handle of the needle and put the moxa cone on. So make sure it's stable and make sure your hands, your finger will not touch the body of the needle. It's only touch the handle of the needle. But if you feel my fingers are pretty white, how can we do it? You can also use your forceps. You can use your forceps to hold the handle of the needle and then put the moxa cone on. Okay, so this is when your fingers too white. So after you put it on, then we can use incense. So you will light your incense, and then you will light the bottom of the moxa, and then remember this incense needs to be extinguished in the water of the ashtray. So now immediately after you extinguish the incense in the ashtray, you will take your forceps, your ashtray, and wait beside the patient. And you will verbalize. I will wait beside my patients, and when the patient says it's too hot, or when the moxa is burnt out, then I'm going to remove it. So you can use the forceps to remove it in the water of the ashtray. And there is another option if you feel your moxa is too tight on the needle. So when you remove it, the moxa needle come out together. How you do it? You can use a forceps with a half split spoon. So you can use the forceps to hold the handle of the needle, and then that spoon to hold the moxa out. So this is another one you can choose. But normal condition, if you digging a hole in your moxa cone should be loose enough, and you will be able to remove it just by your forceps. So after you remove the moxa, then you will wash your hands, withdraw the shields, and wash your hands. Take a cotton ball, support the skin, close the hole. So that's all for the moxibustion over needle. So now I'm going to demo the needle cupping over bladder 25. So same idea, you want to verbalize first. You will wash your hands and palpate bladder 25. And then you will verbalize. I'm going to palpate this patient, palpate this point, and make sure the patient is aware precaution contraindication for acupuncture and the cupping, as well as I will find if there are any precaution contraindication for bladder 25. So now this patient is all clear, so I'm going to demonstrate my cupping over a needle. So now after you touch your patient, you wash your hands, and then you swab this point. Let it air dry. Now you wash your hands. Insert perpendicular 1 to 1.5 turn. And now you will take out your cupping supplies. So this one is pre-soaked alcohol bowl. You can choose to bring the pre-soaked one, or you can choose to prepare the dry cotton ball with 99% alcohol and pour it in front of the examiner. In order to save your time, I will suggest you bring this pre-soaked cotton ball. Okay, and then your cup. So I will use this big cup, which are already sterilized. Because it's already pre-sterilized, so that's why this cup can be on the clean field. And then you will use your forceps to get your cotton ball. So when you do this, make sure you get rid of the extra alcohol from the cotton ball. Immediately close the jar. And then when you do your cupping, your fire can never pass the middle line. So that means it needs to be here and go this way. So I will demonstrate this way. So you will light your cotton ball. When you blow the fire, make sure you don't blow it towards to the examiner. Also don't blow it towards to your patient. And this one needs to be immediately thrown into the water in the ashtray. Okay, so now you will verbalize. I will wash my hands, and after 5 to 10 minutes, or when the cup, when the skin in the cup turns purple, turns very red, I'm going to remove the cup by pressing the skin, let some air in. When the cup is loose, I'm going to remove it. And then you need to verbalize how you deal with cup. So you will wash it with soap water, and then you will sterilize it. And after that, you will wash your hands one more time. Use a cotton ball, support skin, close the